You've probably seen any number of instances where groups like the Proud Boys and Patriot Prayer and all of these neo-fascist organizations go to a city and wreak havoc. And you might think that's why they're doing it. They seem to enjoy getting in fights. They want to destroy our country. But it turns out that they actually have another strategy. And the recent event in Portland, we have the leader of the Proud Boys on video describing exactly why they're doing what they're doing.
We're gonna keep coming out here. We're gonna keep wasting his resources. He's gonna call all the agencies that he's called. He's gonna call the National Guard, the FBI, all of those people. And we're gonna keep coming out here until Ted Wheeler does something.
What do you say to residents that say, we're paying taxes for this and you're just wasting our resources?
Do they pay federal taxes like I do?
All of them pay taxes.
Perfect. Then this is just as my city as my home back in Miami. This is the United States of America.
So you've come here from Miami to waste the resources of Portland.
That wasn't our original intent.
But you just said that's what it was.
Now it is.
Yes,
Wow.
That is what passes for logic on the right. That individual and fellow Proud Boys leader Joe Biggs, they flew to Portland from Florida to host that rally. Multi-jurisdictional police force of 700 was deployed, as well as businesses being shut down. And to give you an idea of the cost, it looks like they were successful. The closures cost local restaurants and other businesses an estimated $3 million in revenue, and taxpayers will likely be on the hook for millions more due to the police response. And so they also released a press release, in case you think that was just one guy with one offhand remark. First of all, he's a leader. Second of all, the press release said the gathering was never about bringing carnage or violence to the city of Portland. It was about financially crippling the progressive hotbed until they take action against Antifa. And so he specifically in that commentary mentioned the mayor of Portland. In response to that, Wheeler decried his statements, but didn't say whether he'd allow the group to continue to host the events in Portland, issuing this statement: I have one clear message to anyone who says they're going to continue wasting the city's resources over and over again. Stop wasting our time. Stop wasting taxpayer dollars. Stop hurting our businesses. We have a city to run and lives to lead. Which sounds strong, but they've told you what they're doing and you say, stop doing it? I don't think they're going to stop.
Like, I would believe it so much more if we didn't find out just a couple of months ago that the Portland police were actually in contact with some of these like far right protesters. Sometimes they're called Proud Boys, sometimes they're called this or that, whatever. But like, we know that law enforcement, as has happened throughout history, is more willing to work on the side with the right nationalists than they're working on the side of anyone against them.
Yeah, the mayors of the major cities are Democrats. And so they should get a hold of their police departments and make them do their jobs. So in this context, again, Proud Boys not being very bright, like their hero Donald Trump, said the quiet part out loud. And the reality is you don't have unlimited free speech rights. So before you panic, let me explain what that means. There's time, manner, and place restrictions that you could put on speech. So for example, the classic example is you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Now, if you wanted to do a protest in a city, you have every right to do that. And I support you doing that no matter where you are on the political spectrum. And I think we should pay money out of our taxes to provide security for that. But if you ask for a protest or a rally every single day, well, that would not be a reasonable way of doing a protest, and you would not get a permit for 365 days out of the year, and it doesn't matter who you are, you wouldn't get that permit. Now, when this group says out loud, oh, we don't actually care about our speech, we're just trying to waste your money, well, then the mayor is completely within his rights to say, okay, well then, you're gonna get certainly less, if any, protests allowed in the city of Portland. Thank you for being stupid and admitting that it isn't about your speech rights. And so he would have a much more solid grounds. If I was the mayor, I would still, despite all this, despite knowing that they're trying to waste the money, I believe in the First Amendment so much, I would let them protest once a year. More than once a year? And then, if you wanna come out and you wanna do it without a permit, I'm gonna send in the cops. You know why? They work for me. And I would tell the cops, what did Trump say? Remember the good old days, how people would be carried out? No, I wouldn't do that because I'm a progressive. But I would say, go do your job. They do not have a permit and they will not be allowed to walk 1 inch in that area without a permit. They want to go harass the citizens of Portland because we're progressive? And you think we're gonna let them do that outside of the law? No, I gave you a badge, go do your job.
I could go even further because like I have no patience or empathy for any of these people because text messages were leaked from this most recent rally. And they say things like, anything that happens to you, whether it's someone takes off your hat or hits you with silly string, say that's assault. Like, if we want to inflict as much damage as possible, the cops aren't gonna let us fight long, but they'll let us fight. Like, they're playing this 4-dimensional chess game with racism and strategy because they're so small, that's kind of all they've got, while the government and the left is not really having a proper response to it. So I would just say, no, you don't get permits for protesting. If you come out, we're gonna call the cops, and I would be a lot more like, strong with how strong the cops should be.
Yeah. Well, so look, what they're trying to do is since they're small, they're trying to use leverage, which makes sense. And the leverage they think they have is the police departments. They think the police departments are right wing and quasi-fascist like them, use violence as a part of their living, right? So they think they have a natural ally there. Now, if that's true, well, that's deeply problematic. And unfortunately, a lot of the coordination in some cities have shown that that is true. Now, if you're a Democratic mayor of a city, you need to crush that. I'm not talking about anything extrajudicial, extra legal, extra democratic. No. We elected you to be the leader of that city. If the police are working with fascist organizations, I mean, we should fire you immediately if you don't put an end to that and eradicate that virus within your police department. In fact, you should use the police for what they're supposed to be, protect the citizens, keep the peace. So if these guys come and try to leverage the police, it should work in reverse. You do not have a permit. You are not allowed on the streets. How many times have they done that to the left in America? 1 million, right? Do your jobs, do it equally and fairly. But I think the last part's the most important part. I mean, we're burying the lead in a sense. They also said in this case, this is a pure optics operation. If you're looking for your 4th degree, and I'll explain what that is in a second, this is not the event to do it, okay? So what is a 4th degree? You get the 4th degree in Proud Boys for assaulting someone. So they're saying, okay, assaulting someone is not bad. That's normally what we do.
Some events are for that.
It's their initiation strategy. Like 4th degree is their 4th part of the initiation. The first one is literally, I swear to God, being punched by a bunch of Proud Boys while you name breakfast cereals.
Yes, and so it's like a gang, and they took that from other gangs in a sense, except the cereal part. And that's why when John read you the earlier quote from an actual press release, the gathering was never about bringing carnage or violence to the city of Portland. That is, they're explaining. Now, normally that's what we do, right? And they tell their guys internally, now this is the one time you're not going to get your 4th degree when you go assault people, right? We're actually just doing this for optics and we want to waste their money. So this is an exception to our normal rule. So their normal rule is violence. So I don't mind calling them fascists at all. They're right-wing guys who go out there to do protest, propaganda. Protests would be totally fine, but the propaganda and the violence makes it completely and utterly unacceptable. If you're cops anywhere in America and you see Proud Boys and you know that they earn their degrees by being violent, do your goddamn job. And if you see any of that, arrest them on the spot, if you see it.
And the only thing I want to add is, I think everybody who pays attention to this can look at this organization, listen to what they say about themselves, and know they're a fascist organization. They want to fight and possibly kill people. That's what they're there for. They can say that they're there to oppose Antifa. I guess that's the person they want to assault. The thing that bothers me about it is the ambiguity, the muddying of the water that's provided by right-wing media and the president. Donald Trump loves these groups. He's vigorously opposed to Antifa, the people who oppose fascism, which should tell you something about his political philosophy. But Fox News has been defending these people hardcore. They have Andy Ngo, I think the right winger who posts online. He calls himself a journalist, but he has no ethics whatsoever.
The latest grifter, if you will.
Exactly. Just today, video came out of him embedded in a group of Proud Boys. As they're talking about assaulting a cafe, he's smiling and joking around with them. So he loves to pretend that they're non-violent. It's the leftist, Antifa, who are the violent ones. Whereas he's in on the game. He's joking around as they talk about assaulting innocent people at a cafe. And then if anything happens, whatever, if some of the tear gas they throw goes back in their eyes, Tucker Carlson will have them on that night to talk about how mean Antifa is to them. And so for anyone who's watched groups like this come about historically in other countries and wondered, how did it get this way? Why didn't anyone stop them? Maybe they had a Fox News. Maybe they had other right-wing media at that time who was helping to defend them as they got more powerful, more embedded inside of police departments and things like that.
Well, we know that they had a propaganda outlet and Goering was the head of it. And here we had a propaganda outlet where Ailes was the head of it. And so, look, last thing I'll say is Trump even said in a tweet that he's considering labeling Antifa, anti-fascist, as a terror organization.
Yeah.
But full well knowing that these right-wingers are planning to do violence, never says a word about him. In fact, at this Portland gathering where there was both sides, he only called out Antifa and called them potential terrorists and did not call out the people who actually came to waste people's money and as a matter of course does violence. Because he's not on the side of the anti-fascists, he's on the side of the fascists.
In America, we fought against fascists in World War II. Does that make everyone's grand or great-grandparent a terrorist? Like, follow the logic. It doesn't work.
Well, look, our veterans that fought in World War II were literally Antifa. They were anti-fascists.
Yeah.
And so Donald Trump and the rest of the right wing, if you're a true American and you were a patriot, you would hate fascism because we fought a whole war against them. But nonstop, what does the right wing do? They back enemies of the United States of America. Confederacy, the largest enemy we ever had, and now the fascists in Italy and Germany, they're talking about in proud terms. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.